Hello YouTube. If you've been following the channel for the past month, you know that I've been making videos trying to defend the natural status of lifters on YouTube, trying to reinstate our pride and prove to people that yes, indeed, it is always the better choice to remain natural and to stay away from steroids. And within these debates, a certain name has been thrown around a ton, a name that at first was used as an insult towards naturals. And that name is Noble Natties. Now, when I first heard it, I'm not going to lie, it sounded cold to me. And I didn't really understand why it was used and weaponized as a way to shame us into not being righteous or into not doing what we believed is correct. And the more I thought about it, the more I believed and the more I came to realize that this was actually a perfect name for our cause and for what we represent. And so the more I tried to intellectualize the entire concept of noble natties, the more I was trying to figure out what would be the principles that a noble natty would have to abide by to be able to live a good life and to represent the virtue that we wish to spread on this YouTube platform. And so I came up with 10 commandments, 10 things that if you want to be a noble natty, if you want to be someone who is going to have a good physique, who is going to be a good role model, and who is going to live a good life, should follow, and that everyone in reality should follow, so that we can all build a strong and healthy community together. So, let's get into it. The number one is, treat your body like a temple. This is our first commandment. I picked this one to open it up because I think that it crystallizes what we represent. It's not just purity of ideals, it's also purity of body. It comes hand in hand in reality. The thing that I've always found amazing with natural bodybuilding in particular is that not only is it good for muscle building and looking good, but it also is the best way to live a long, healthy life. The two come hand in hand. And I think it's important we bring it back into the discussion because for too long now, bodybuilding has been associated with a shorter lifespan, with terrible side effects, and with overall the type of existence that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. And if we go back 80 or 90 years, it didn't used to be like this. Meaning that there used to be a time where natural bodybuilding was correlated with absolute health, where the men that were the best looking with the biggest muscles were also the ones that lived the longest with the most vitality. And since we have essentially the same genetics as these men back then, we can bring it back. But the only way to do that is to treat our bodies like temples, meaning that we need to make sure we never actually ingest or allow anything in the temple that is poisonous or is going to corrupt us. And we all know intimately what that means. We all know the substances that are bad for us, that are going to turn us into addicts, that are going to make us stray away from the noble natty path. So, as the high priest of the noble natty order, I say to you and I tell you that you should treat your body like a temple. Number two, you should not seek any magic pills. In the same line of thought, a lot of the time, things are going to be pushed onto you. Things are going to tempt you because people are going to make you believe that if you ingest certain products, if you buy certain things, you're going to get immediate results. And two things could come from that. One, the product actually works, in which case it's most likely a steroid, and it's going to rob your ability to actually be anabolic and to build muscle by yourself, and it's going to replace the ability of the body to do it, so it's dangerous and addictive, or it's going to be bunk, and you've just been sold one of the many supplements that are being presented as a magic pill that is going to make you blow up in 2 weeks, when in reality, it's nonsense. But in both cases, if you fall for it, you demonstrated a lack of willpower because you tried to get results with no effort. And that is a big no-no for anyone, for any natural, who wants to make it big at some point because we all know it intimately. It's just logical. Anything of worth, anything worth having is going to require effort on our parts, and no shortcut can be taken because shortcuts don't exist. And that leads me to number three of these commandments. You shall not desire shortcuts. It's even deeper than not taking them. It's not having the desire in your heart, because that's where it starts. Everything that we do starts here. It's intellectualized, but of course it starts as a desire. And if you cannot control your desires, you're going to have a very tough time staying on the path, on the natural path, because this platform and this world in general is nothing but temptations. Why don't you skip the gym today? Why don't you just stay home and watch Netflix? Why don't you skip your diet? Why don't you just go eat McDonald's? All of these things will always be present. But the difference is that us, the noble natties, will always say no, will always push away these temptations, even though they'll still be there. It's unrealistic to expect them to disappear, but that is what makes it great. It's going to be a challenge. The world is going to constantly try to tell us, is going to constantly try to get us to give up, and we will never do that. We will always turn our backs on these so-called shortcuts, because we know that at the end of the day, they are just going to lead us to our demise. Number 4, you shall not idolize. Very important, in my opinion, one of the things that I'm trying to preach the most. Natural lifters do not need to idolize anyone. We do not need heroes. We do not need people that we're just going to believe 100% and follow into the depths of hell. It has always resulted in men turning into fanboys and people renouncing their individuality. And when you renounce your individuality, you stop being a human. You become something else. You become subservient. And that is unacceptable. And I see too many of my brothers who fall for that. And it especially breaks my heart when I see natural lifters starting to fanboy for PED users. Because not only are you now not thinking for yourself anymore, but you're taking advice from someone who is not going to give you anything relevant. They're just going to make your life worse. So across the board, it is best to never sink to that level of depravity. It's always better to have your own train of thought and to just take from others what you need. Take inspiration, take knowledge, but never ever allow yourself to start to believe that someone is your God or someone is your master. You only need one master, and that is you. Which is also why the Noble Natty Order is not a religious order, but we are spiritual, because the two don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. And that is why, for number 5, when I tell you that you shall train your body religiously, I don't mean that you need to pray 5 times a day, or I don't mean that you need to actually go into a church. Although keep in mind that the gym is our church, is the church of iron. What I mean instead is that you need to show the same level of dedication as a Muslim would show when they do their 5 prayers a day. As a Christian who is going to actually kneel on the floor and implore God. The beauty in these practices is the repetition, the consistency, but also and most importantly, the spirit that is poured into the activity. When you train, you need to mean it. You need to know why you're training. You need to have a goal body in mind. All of these things are going to keep you going and are going to make sure that you never stop. It's also what is great about having a religious approach to lifting. You're not going to quit. And that is what differentiates people who make it and people who don't. Noble natties cannot just be noble because they don't take drugs. That is just a basic. It's a given. What we need to do instead is we need to develop strong and big, reliant and resistant bodies that we can show to the world. For ourselves, to be proud of ourselves, to be happy with the statue that we sculpted, but most importantly to inspire others and show them that yes, you can be natural and you can be big at the same time, or be strong at the same time. It's not a death sentence to not take drugs. The Noble Natty Order needs to be made of buff motherfuckers across the board. I don't want any skinny dweeb within our ranks, or if you are skinny, understand that you are on borrowed time. You have only so many years until you actually have to fit into the armor, and the armor only comes in XXL size. So you better get training, and you better never give up on your development, on your improvement, because your body counts on you. You are the only person that can actually put in the work to make it bigger, so do it. Number 6, you shall not bring your brother down. We are a fraternity. It's what it's always been. We need to uplift each other. I see too many people within the Noble Natty Order and our ranks who point the finger at others and who say, oh, this guy did this and this guy did that and this guy is a liar or he's not natural. I understand that this level of distrust has been placed there by PED users, but as for us, within our own ranks and within our own order, we need to push that away. That level of frustration, of jealousy is extremely toxic because it takes you away from yourself. You're not centered anymore. You are looking at others. And that is when you lost the plot. A noble natty cannot allow himself to do that. On top of that, it's a show of poor character. If you have another man that is bigger than you or stronger than you, look at him for inspiration and advice. He is just ahead of you on the path. Don't be jealous of that. He just has some years on you. If you look at me and you think, wow, he's so much bigger than I am. Yes, there's a chance that's possible, but you know why? It's because I started sooner and I never gave up. You have the same potential for size. You just need to keep going. And for that, I'm perfectly willing to extend my hand and pull you up, but I want you, when you're going to be up the mountain with me, to then turn around, grab your brother and bring him up as well. We need to make it as a team, right? We're all going to make it, yes, but I would prefer if we all did it at the same time. The individuality in lifting is, of course, key because you'll be the one training, but you will find that if we can make a strong, natural community, it's going to be so much easier because we're going to create an atmosphere of positivity and of uplifting. We're going to uplift each other as brothers in iron, and that goes for bodybuilders, calisthenic athletes, powerlifters, I don't care. As long as you're natural and you're in it for the long term, you are my brother, I'm going to bleed for you, and I hope you're going to bleed for me as well. Number 7, in the same line, you shall not covet your neighbor's genetics. The entire talk with genetics, again, was implanted in our heads by PED users. It does not serve you. The only thing it's ever done is make your life miserable because now you focus on something you have no control over. You need to give it up. It's a waste of fucking time. Your genetics are what they are. They will never change. Or at least, in a sense, yes, they will change, but only through work. And that throws us back to number 5. If you don't train and you just complain about, oh, I have skinny wrists, or oh, I can never be big, I'm an ectomorph, guess what? You're actually creating your own misery. You have bought into the genetics meme, and now you're going to stay small forever, and you're going to find excuses and say it wasn't your fault. It's pathetic. Noble natties will never allow themselves to think like this. Think positive and fuck your genetics. Your genetics mean absolutely nothing. You need to train. Create your own destiny. Your fate is only decided by yourself, and the only thing that can modify fate is action. So get it done. Number 8, you shall not lie to yourself. The second most important commandment for noble natties. I see too many people who lie to themselves constantly. It's already bad enough to lie to other people, but the second you start to do it to your own self, it's over because in truth, you cannot lie to your own heart. Deep down, you will know that you're bullshitting yourself, and it's going to make yourself hate the person that you've become. And self-hate is one of the most destructive emotion that a human can exhibit. It's going to make your life miserable. It's going to make people around you miserable because you're going to try and drag them down with you, and you're never going to get anything done. So for you, if you're on the path and you're a natural lifter and you want to get big, you want to actually achieve greatness, that is step number 1. Look at your life, examine the things that are not right, that you don't like, and objectively, honestly say why they're here, why that happened, and how you can change it. If you're not able to do that, it will never get better. Again, stop saying it's your genetics. Stop saying it's someone else's fault. Stop saying you don't have the time or the resources. All of that is bullshit, and you know it. You have the time, you have everything in your possession to actually get it done, so just do it. Number 9, honor your ancestors. It also is correlated with the genetics I just described. When you complain about having bad genetics, you are essentially pointing the finger at the skies and saying, hey, you guys up there that sacrificed and live a life so that I could live one, fuck you, you're the reason why I'm small. That is absolutely pathetic. Never allow yourself to think in these terms. You are the result of a long line of people who struggled their entire existence so that they could reproduce, which led to you. You are the final iteration of this long line if you haven't had kids yet. And therefore, you need to actually show gratitude for these people. And you need to also understand that they left you with the biggest and the most brightest gift of all, which is life. A life that you are fully in control of. And that life, if you're watching this video and you're interested by these ideas, is going to be the life of a noble natty. Someone who is going to, again, have a body that are going to take great care of, who is going to live a long life and hopefully be a spiritual guide and a spiritual inspiration for people around you in your life. But how do you expect to get there if you're not capable of looking at the lights that gave birth to yours and respect them and love them for what they are? It's absolutely impossible. And again, since we are a community and we are to love each other and push each other forward and upward, that level of love is going to be needed. If you can't even love your ancestors, how are you going to love your fellow noble natty? It's most likely impossible, and it's going to make it very hard to not actually be jealous of them, or worse, to also not start hating yourself, because at some point or another, I've always seen and found that the type of people who struggle the most with expanding love are the ones that don't love themselves in the first place. So keep in mind that when you love your ancestors, you love where you come from, your origins, everything that made you, in a sense, it's also a sign of self-love, and that's very important. And for the one commandment, for every single noble natty watching this video, you shall constantly seek spiritual evolution. Never allow yourself to stagnate. Always remember, stagnation is death. For humans, and in reality for anything that lives, we always must push forward. That is true with our bodies, of course, but also with the knowledge, because it comes hand in hand. The best natural physiques were created by people who are highly intelligent and never satisfied with our level of knowledge. And that is, again, for your mental capacities, but also your spirituality, because even though, again, religion in itself is not needed to be a noble natty, a certain level of enlightenment is. Spirituality is a very important part of physical and mental development. It is, in my opinion, absolutely essential that you open up that door, because this is where most of the value of noble natties come from. It's the moral door, in a sense, that once opened is going to reveal the true beauty of the type of lifestyle that I preach. Because if you only look at health or performance, yeah, sure, we are of course much superior to drug users, but there is something underneath all of that. And that something is intrinsic value. And that value can only be described as virtue. A virtue that I hope to symbolize and represent so that you yourself can start to embody that very virtue and make your life better. And as you'll do that, you'll also be a shining example for people around you to follow it as well. But that will also take the absolute rejection of every single person that tries to come after us or tries to destroy the light that they see, because it is too blinding. Never apologize for shining too bright. You need to be as close to the sun as you can, because it's the only way we can cast the shadow away. And trust me when I tell you that people who live in the shadow, for the most part, don't take it too kindly when you shine in their face. But that doesn't matter. We are not there to make mediocre people feel better about themselves. We are there to push the human species always forward, to evolve as a group of men and women, and to strive to be the best that we can be all the time. And that is something that I believe every single noble natty on this channel and other channels can accomplish if and only if we stick to these 10 principles. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for watching, and remember, never feel ashamed for being virtuous, never feel bad for being righteous. We need more people like that now than ever at any other point in history. Have a good night.